Good evening. Welcome to Liberal Buzz. I'm Denise Dory. I'm your host, and as the show name implies, we are unapologetically liberal. When I say we, we're a community of people. Well, I'm working for some liberal campaigns that have just kicked off. Like Aaron Peskin and Ross Mercarimi are both liberals that I trust, and they've proven themselves. So I'm giving them my full support. So the first thing I want to announce is Aaron Peskin's campaign office is having a kickoff party uh, on, I believe it's on Sutter Street near Polk. So if you could make it over there at Saturday at 11 a.m., there's plenty for everybody to do to help get him elected. Because I'm gonna, as we show later on in this show, Supervisor Christensen, who was appointed by Mayor Ed Lee, had some pretty flimsy excuses why she voted no on the mission moratorium. Sort of like she was saying, well, we don't have a game plan. That's because you keep building the wrong stuff, you know. And it was just playing dodgeball, really, with the issues that are affecting people's lives. And so please give me a follow, and I'll give you a follow back right here, Denise Dory on Twitter. And I'll give you a follow back. And let's go through some of these tweets first before we get down to other things I want to talk about, all things liberal. What we've got is, I just got this from Ed Rosenthal on the Facebook page. Congress cements medical marijuana ceasefire. That's the article. No federal funds for DEA or Department of Drug Enforcement Agency or the Department of Justice to undermine states' legal medical cannabis. So that's big. We've got a tug of war going on, as you probably noticed. Now we got a very chilly reception at the mayor's office. As you can see, they didn't have the red carpets for us like they did Conway and other lobbyists. They had a closed door with cops standing in front of it, looking, not smiling. So there's that. And we went there, and they voted no. It was a pretty narrow defeat of the moratorium put on by David Campos, who I also supported and all along since 2008, when he was on the police commission and ran for supervisor the first time. He was there for the cannabis community at times, and now humanity overshot Earth's biocapacity, that's for sure. The mission moratorium is going to probably go on the ballot. So watch for it. We saw a community organization like we never saw before. And there's castles that are cheaper than an apartment in San Francisco. So now there's also a post office closure on 101 Hyde, which is heavily used by homeless people, and it's closing to build some god-awful, ugly, unaffordable by you and I, probably, apartments. So more fugly SF architecture in the works. There's so much of it. It just, they're turning it into a bedroom community. So we've got to stop them. I want to stop them. I hope you do too. And I got some laughs out of the cheaters who got caught cheating and what their mates did. Now, living off the grid, here's another tweet about living off the grid. It's illegal. So sometimes the government will go after you for not hooking up to your power grid. So, and for actually saving rainwater, that's a crime sometimes. One guy was doing it, but they accused him of diverting a river. So, anyway, there's also 11 tactics used by mainstream media to manufacture consent. Now, the first one is lying by omission. When they manufacture your consent, they lie by omission, which means they leave out important facts. And they just talk about the symptoms of the cause, like people in the street, broken windows, rather than why are the people in the street, and why are the windows not breaking themselves. So, and then there's, I don't know, controlling the debate, where they control the questions that are asked on shows where maybe they'll spend 19 seconds talking about a really important issue, and then 75 minutes talking about Justin Bieber getting arrested for drunk in public or whatever he gets. So yeah, it's just the anchors often recite the same talking points or the same slogan. It'll be a catchphrase or a segue, and also, and sometimes that's what I mean by scripted news, and the politicizing everything, making everything black, white, up, down, good. Or usually it's good, bad. Everything. This is all good and this is all bad, and then they'll have a name for it. It'll be stereotypical for the. And so I'm talking about they, meaning the news media, which we are not slaves to here, fortunately. So we don't. That's one struggle we don't have, is we don't have to struggle to talk about the things we want to talk about if we have shows like this. It's great. And sometimes they'll label people like conspiracy theorists when somebody thinks that, oh, they're trying to privatize the water. Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, and they'll dismiss it. Oh, or climate change. And so then if they ask the wrong questions and they're not confrontational to the issue, then it's actually that's how they're also manufacturing consent. The media, that is. And then they'll bury the story. Sometimes they'll report a really interesting, good story, like, oh, they talked about why are they spraying poison in the sky, and there were 3-part series on Channel 7, and part 3, they had to take it off the internet. They had to take part 1 and 2. They scrubbed that. I had the video for a while. I don't know I don't think I still have it, but yeah, it was about how they're spraying aerosols in jetliners, passenger jets, and other planes, and just the clouds stay there, and they're affecting the climate. They're breaking up the storms. That's why it's not raining, and they're trying to use other reasons why it's not raining here. And why? I don't know. That's a conspiracy. And that's what conspiracy theorists do. They talk about things like that. And sometimes if you're paranoid, it's because there's something to be paranoid about also. So it sounds too weird to be true. Maybe it is true. And they'll trivialize things and distract with celebrity stories, like I said, Justin Bieber. And they'll flat out lie or use a lot of distracting graphics and blinking lights and, cut to a commercial, that sort of thing. And, maybe make the guest that was talking too much disappear, or cut his mic, or edit his dialogue. So that can happen too. And so now that I've covered that a little bit, we've only got 20 minutes here, and I've gone through. Okay, and so also, did you know that milk has just as many dangerous properties as cannabis? Milk is not suitable. Cow's milk really isn't suitable for human consumption as much as, say, human milk or goat's milk. But we're not going to make human milk cheese anytime soon. But I'm just saying. And soy isn't that great either. So if you can switch to, I don't know, I can't tell you, because in almonds, this, that, the other thing. Don't this. So anyway, but milk creates phlegm. Cannabis, might burn your throat a little bit. So they both got little downsides to them. And if you see trees in California, you're going to see all these trees that that just look like they're about to wither. It's good to trim the dead wood off of them if you can. The dead wood being it's not ever going to produce any live foliage again. Just trim the dead wood and get a soaker hose, because you can't afford to water it. And the best way to water any plant is with a soaker hose, and just soak it down. There's an article about that. We've got to help the trees survive the drought. The wildlife is really suffering. And patent medicines, I believe some of them, and they on the CBS News, they raise the murder risk, like the OxyContin and the diazepam drugs. Those make people psycho, I guess that's what's being said. I haven't experienced it, but I did with coffee. Coffee really made it, ugh, yuck. I quit coffee now. It was just a nightmare. 2 weeks migraine headache for 2 weeks. And so now the ocean off the California desert is turning off the California coast is turning into a desert. So There's 40 uses for honey. Some of them are unexpected. I'd check that out. I won't go through them all now, but check out the Twitter feed. Honey's great. Now, there's 6 corporations that control almost everything we watch, see, and hear, and read on TV. Jury sends message to cops, go find real criminals, and acquits man on felony pot charges. So that's jury nullification. You don't have, let me tell you, you don't have to give a guilty verdict if you don't, if even though the law says it's, whatever they said is against the law, whatever they're charged with, you don't have to convict the defendant if you feel it's morally wrong too. So if it goes against your sensibilities, you can vote not guilty, even though he was caught with it red-handed. And also, don't fall for hate mongers' traps and fight each other. They want us to fight. They want, you know, the powers that be. Oh, if you want to call it the Illuminati, maybe. I don't know who they are, but it just seems like there's a hate monger's trap, and it's a good article about it. And it goes into Islamophobia, controlled oppression. You just want to oppress people so that then the whites, for instance, the blacks are mad at the whites for us, you know, being mad, you know, and they're mad at one side, and then the argument just continues and continues, and you know, a lot of times every time I'm on their side, you know, I totally am. I should wear a button. I love you. I'm on your side. Now, the DA failed to prosecute cops in death of Eric Garner, but not failing to prosecute the man who filmed it. Once again, film the cops. If you don't have a camera phone that takes videos, why? Get one. They're not. They hand them out free on the streets now. I strongly urge everyone to have a camera phone, and when you see that a black person being detained by the cops, whip it out, film it. You can, and not get in trouble. Just don't say anything. Now, the President Obama admitted he inhaled, and Uncle Sam tells employees not to smoke, so not to smoke cannabis. So that's a bit hypocritical, isn't it? And the 5 pieces of evidence suggesting the California drought may be a HAARP manufactured event, when I talked about earlier with chemtrails, the planes spraying those lines in the sky. And let's see. I think that's as many as I can afford to go through because I've got more. Well, there's in Ohio, we'll get a couple more. Greedy, Irresponsible Ohio, and a group there aims to monopolize the legal marijuana market. So that's like an epidemic right now. We have to get ready for it. There's going to be all sorts of monopolists and wannabe gatekeepers of an herb that belongs to everyone. So Obama took bold executive action to protect America's drinking water from corporate polluters. So that's kudos to Obama. That's a great article too. I wish I could go into it. Then and MSG, watch out for MSG and aspartame. They're I don't recommend them. It's supposed to affect the memory, the aspartame. We're locking up poor people in debtors' prison to fund police departments. That's just wrong. And we're being turned into a giant prison. Okay, a couple more tweets. The climate change and drought means marijuana grown in California will be more potent. So, and also, the war on California medical cannabis will continue, says Justice Department Hogg. She hates weed more than, I don't know, perverts. She definitely goes after them more than, there's more, well, let me put it this way, we need bail reform, okay? That just, I'm still reeling from the fellow Enrique Pierce that just got to, he just got to walk. He got, and Enrique Pierce got clean away with it. He got clean away with doing what he did, and they let him go so he could destroy the evidence too. That's what a lot of people think. So he gets away with it while homeless people go to jail for drinking a beer or sitting on the street. So that's the state of affairs. And that Enrique Pierce worked on the Ed Lee campaign, and this Ed Lee is just he's just had the door shut for the activists that came and to ask him questions about luxury housing and the moratorium and the mission, which is what was voted down the other night. Now the moratorium would have it would have stopped the development of any housing project of 5 units or more that is not 100% affordable to households earning between 0 and 120% of the area median income. And the moratorium would only have been 45 days. And you had, let's see, 4 supervisors voted it down and the other 7 voted for it. So we needed 9 votes. So we would have had to, Scott Wiener, Christensen, Tang, and the other one, Mark Farrell. They all voted it down. It wouldn't have mattered. They sat there and it was like they didn't even really, they went in there with their minds made up. There was nothing anyone could do, not the hundreds of people that gave public comment to change their minds. Their minds were made up, and they had hearts of stone. There was a child in there saying he had to sleep with his dad. This kid, it's going to be on the show, on the Axis of Love show on June 19th. This Latino kid got up and said, broke my heart. He said, how did you good supervisors sleep last night? He said, I didn't sleep hardly at all. I had to sleep in the same bed with my dad, and we're worried about anyway, it was heartbreaking. He was worried about being evicted and displaced. Now, the San Francisco voters passed Proposition K in November, establishing a city policy that at least 50% of all new housing would be affordable. And in the last decade, only 1 new affordable housing development has been completed in the Mission, and that was 6 years ago, in 2009. So we need this moratorium. There's only 13 parcels left to develop in the Mission. It's all of the 78 housing units in the pipeline for development in the Mission. Only 34 of those units are set to be below market rate units. So they're not building it for us. See, we need like 2,400 units of affordable housing to be built to stabilize this situation. 8,000 Latinos have left the city, have left the Mission. It should be criminal. We got, let's see, since 2008, there were 900 stores and restaurants, and now they support San Francisco's tourist industries and range from furniture makers, and there's some manufacturing, there's jobs for the people, and they're taking away the spaces where people work too, so that those spaces are being developed, basically made into a bedroom community. Almost everything they're building, besides the BMW dealership over on 14th and South Van Ness, is all this high luxury housing. We've lost 8,000 Latinos from 2000 to 2013. Yeah, there's the numbers, due to displacement. And they came here because a lot of times the governments backed by the USA displaced them by supporting the people that were oppressing them in their own country. So they come here, and now we're being displaced. They're being displaced for another reason. It just how quickly people forget. You know, they fled extreme violence, and in the Mission they've shaped the Mission. The Latinos have. They've made it a really special place on the world map. And this is just, how could people? I mean, really, is any amount of money worth it to somebody to do this? I just don't know. I mean, we're going to vote on a moratorium. It's going to be in the ballot box because they haven't made voter initiatives illegal yet. Now, Ross, I was going to talk all about Ross, but I never got a chance to because I've just got 2 minutes left. Dear me. Now, let's talk about a petition to protect San Francisco compassionate providers. And Ross Mercarimi, by the way, supported the cannabis community, the compassionate community, to actually have cannabis grown on municipal city lands for poor patients. That was a non-binding resolution. Of course, you don't see it happening, do you? No, because it was non-binding, and the industry got in the way, and the industry, but we have our own, guess what, we have our own committee now. We don't have, the poor patients don't have to be on the same committees as the profiteers and the lobbyists. We have our own, it's called the steering committee, and it's coming up soon. So look for it, and we'll be talking a lot about it. So San Francisco here is, I'm going to read the petition. It was suffering from a land grab by big money bids to push out nonprofits. So we ask for your support and a signature at 1260 Mission Street. Come by and sign the petition. I've got nothing left, no time left but for announcements. Legalized 2016 MCLR. That's going to be the ballot initiative. It's open source. It's the best one, and it's written by a lot of people, not just a couple people that tried to hijack Jack Herrera's name, and it wasn't written by cops or pharma or whoever wants to there's a lot of people, a lot of organizations and police officer organizations looking to control the cannabis, so we need to vote on it instead. Now don't forget, keep filming the police, and happy birthday to 100th birthday to City Hall. It's June 19th at 6 to 10 p.m. Civic Center Plaza. It'll be the 600th birthday of City Hall. Watch Psychic Frank every second and fourth Thursday at 5 p.m. on this channel. And also, very important, there's going to be a rally number 2 for the moratorium, Save Our Culture, Our Economics, and Our Community, Saturday, June 6th, noon to 2 p.m. on 1330 Fillmore Street in front of the former Yoshi's. And it's going to be another rally, so I urge you to go to that. Support Ross Mercarimi and Aaron Peskin any way you can. They need you. Of course, they're not going to get big money. Thank you very much for watching. Let's Talk Sports is next. Bye-bye.